Hi, it's your sober bestie Bianca, and today I am 841 days sober. Before we get this video started, if you could give this video a like and subscribe to my channel, I would love you forever and ever and ever. Subscribing is a free, easy way you can help me out. I'm trying to get to 1,000 subs by the end of this year, so help me, God. I never thought I would be making a video like this, but here we are. This summer, I was only taking one class in school. So my plan was recovery, school, and YouTube. I was just gonna focus on my YouTube channel, finish telling my DWI story, get this ball rolling, you know? And instead, I had a hot girl summer. There was a guy in my AA home group who was super flirty and funny, and I could tell he liked me, but I was just like, no, never. He was just like so goofy and country, and I don't know, I just wasn't feeling it. But we were both greeters for a month, and so that just meant that we had to greet everyone before they came into the meeting. And he was really good at it. At the time, he was 8 months sober, and he was literally just like giving everyone a hug, was like, come on, bring it in, big guy, and would hug just everyone. And I was over here 2 years sober, like, hi, welcome. So yeah, he was just super social and outgoing, and I got to know him more and more while we were both greeters. One day after the meeting, a group of us went to go get food, and he and I were talking while we were waiting in line, and I don't know how we got on the topic, but he was just like, darling, I'm looking at doing 6 years jail time. And then I was definitely like, no, never, bye. But then we just kept talking as friends, and one day he visited me at work and he brought me a flower. And even though he plucked it from like some random garden, I just thought that was so cute, like that he thought about that, because no guy has ever done that for me before. I mean, I got flowers in high school. Like as an adult, I've never gotten flowers from a guy except for my dad. So I don't know, just something like, I liked that he didn't like pay for flowers. I liked that he plucked it. Like, I don't know, I just thought it was really cute. And then I told him to take me on a date, and I wanted to go to Topgolf. So he took me to Topgolf and we had a really fun time. Then he took me on another date to go see a movie, and then he took me on another date, and then we spent the whole summer together. In the beginning of the summer, we still didn't know if he was going to prison or not, and let me tell ya, I was just so naive, because New Mexico isn't very strict on crime. Like, they'll freaking let a child murderer just go be free. So I was like, a drug dealer? That's nothing. He'll be fine. And I was like literally also thinking like, well, he's sober now and he got his career back and he's doing really well, and the government wouldn't ruin a man's life like that. That would be so mean. I was just very naive, and I honestly, I didn't think he was gonna, I was like, they'll just give you a bunch of probation, you know? In the middle of the summer, he had a settlement conference, and it was official that he was gonna have to do jail time. I was devastated and I cried, and we had to have a talk about our relationship, because he was like, this is such a new relationship. I don't expect you to like wait for me. Honestly, at that time, I didn't know what I was gonna do. We were already spending like every second we could together, but then when I found out he was gonna go away for a while, it was like, okay, I'm moving in and now we're really spending every second together. So I just took it day by day, and it just finally got to a point where I couldn't imagine not waiting for him. I buckled up and I was like, okay, I'm in this. My boyfriend's going to prison. On July 28th, he turned himself into MDC, which is the same jail I spent the night at on Mother's Day 2015. If you would like to watch that video, I will link it in the description. And then he was transferred to a prison to get classified. A week goes by and his mom is texting me, asking me, like, have you heard from Ashton at all? because he normally calls his mom and me every single day. 2 weeks go by and finally I get a 20-second phone call from him. And he was like, babe, I only have 20 seconds to talk, but I just want you to know that I'm okay and I love you. Okay, bye. And then I get transferred to a robot who helps me set up an account and a payment plan. And it's the creepiest voice ever. Like, I can't even try to mimic it, but she sounds like a witch. And then I get transferred to another bot that runs your credit card information. She sounds like she's drugged by the witch. She's like, the amount you entered is $20. Is $20 correct? And then basically I had to wait an hour for my funds to kick in, and then I had to wait for Ashton to call me so I can find out what happened these last 2 weeks. I can't call him, only he can call me. So he tells me he got COVID when he was getting transferred from MDC to the prison, and so he had to be in quarantine for 2 weeks. Which, when you're in prison, that is basically solitary confinement, which is a punishment where you have no contact with anyone. And he said it was the most miserable experience ever. And he told me that if he was in the real world, he probably would have used, because it was just that awful. You just have no contact with anyone for 2 weeks. I mean, the good thing is he wasn't in the real world. He's still sober, and he survived COVID. He told me that if he really wanted to use again, he could, because you can get drugs in jail, but he doesn't want to do that. He just wants to stay sober, do his time, and get the fuck out, and I do not blame him. I would want to do the same thing. His sentence is for 3.5 years, and if he behaves, which he will, he only has to serve half of that time. So before he went in, I did all the math, and it was 42 months, and half of that is 21 months, which means he will get out in April of 2024, which is a long time, but at the same time, it's not a long time. It sucks that I finally get into a relationship and he has to go to prison, but I'm the lucky one in this situation because I'm sad, but I'm in the free world, and I can stay busy with school and work and AA, and I can do whatever I want to do. 21 months will fly by, but he's the one that's in prison and time moves a little bit slower in there. So it's definitely going to be harder for him. This experience has already taught me so much. I'm learning to be patient, that's for sure. I've always struggled with being patient. Now this is just another life lesson that the universe is kind of throwing my way. Also, I'm a pretty grateful person. I can't shut the fuck up about gratitude just because I took everything for granted when I was drinking and I was entitled, and yeah, so whenever I get asked to pick a topic in a meeting, I always pick gratitude, and I'm always every day making gratitude lists. Basically, gratitude is my answer to everything. And this has just opened up my eyes to how much I was still taking for granted. We talk every day and sometimes twice a day if I'm lucky. And he tells me so many things that he misses. And it's always just the most simple things. There was one time where he was like, I get to go outside tomorrow. And he was literally so excited, like a puppy or a little kid going out to recess. He was just so excited to see the sun. The sun. I don't go outside very often, but I always have the option to do that whenever I want. I love the comfort of my room. I love Wi-Fi and air conditioning, and sometimes I hate having to leave my room. But it's good. The sun is good. Go touch grass, be in nature. And yeah, I guess I just have the option to do that if I want to. I can't imagine being told I couldn't see the sun for days. Just go days without being outside. That's crazy. He can't get commissary yet because I guess there's a time period you have to wait until you can get that. He can't buy snacks yet. And he eats 3 meals a day, but it's just not enough food. So he goes to bed hungry all the time. And it just makes me so sad that he's yeah, I have to go to bed with a growling stomach. Because sometimes I go to bed hungry too, but that's because of my eating disorder. So that's another video for another day. But basically, if I go to bed hungry, it's because I've made the choice to starve myself that night. And I have plenty of food in my pantry that I have access to. It's just me making the decision not to eat. He got to order toiletries the other day and he was so excited to get like lotion and shampoo and a roll of toilet paper. And I was like, toilet paper? What have you been using this whole time? I still have the habit of texting him, like, so I just sent him a letter. It's my second letter to him, and I made a copy of it because I want to save all of the letters that we send to each other, because that's like the one positive thing of this situation is like we get to send each other love letters. I didn't make a copy of the first letter, so it's just like a habit. I grabbed my phone and I was gonna text him like, hey, save that first letter I sent you. And then it clicks and I'm like, Bianca, he doesn't have his phone. If he had his phone, you wouldn't be writing him a letter right now. So yeah, it's just weird getting used to that. And I truly understand why it's called snail mail. The way that the mail works is that I have to send my letter to Florida and it goes to Securus, which is the company that also runs the phones. I'm guessing they just specialize in prison communications. Securus will then read the letter, make sure there's no drugs or anything inappropriate in the letter, and then they send it to him in New Mexico, which is such a pain because it's like, why can't you just have someone in New Mexico do it? But yeah, so it's got to go from New Mexico to Florida, back to New Mexico. When in like reality, if I sent him a letter, it would get there in like a day. But this is prison time. I sent my letter on August 24th and he has still not gotten it. It is now September 12th. I even sent it priority so that it would get to Florida faster, but still that didn't help at all. It's still been over 2 weeks and he hasn't gotten it. Basically, now that I have a lot of free time, well, I don't, I'm still in school and working, but I have a boyfriend without having like all of my time and energy being taken up by a boyfriend. I only get to talk to him for half an hour a day. That gives me time to work on my YouTube channel and I can finish telling my story, and then in 21 months, he will get to tell his story on my channel. And yeah, his story is wild. When we first started dating, he was just telling me stories of his life when he was in active addiction, and I was like, I did crazy stuff and put myself in dangerous situations, but still the life of a drug dealer and the life of a middle-class basic bitch alcoholic who just drinks wine in her room by herself all day, they're very different. I don't know how I'm gonna get through these next 21 months. Like I said, I can stay busy with school and work and YouTube, and hopefully 2024 will be here before I know it, but I think life is going to move a lot slower for him. So I pray for him a lot, and I try to send him as much AA stuff as possible if it ever gets there in the frickin' mail. He hasn't been to an AA meeting since he turned himself in. When you're in recovery, you really need meetings. They say that like meetings are your medicine. Alcoholism or addiction is your disease, and meetings is the medicine you need to take. And yeah, he hasn't had one in like 7 months. When he finally finishes getting classified and he gets sent to his prison where he's gonna do all of his time, I think there will be more meetings in there. But since he's kind of in limbo, I told him he's in purgatory right now. He's like in limbo, so yeah, he hasn't been able to go to a meeting. So I try to send him AA stuff and just encouragement. He wants to start his own meeting while he's in there, and I think that's a great idea, because even though it's like a shitty situation, I think any way you can help people is, you know, there's people in jail right now who don't want to get sober, and maybe, you know, he could have an impact on them and maybe just plant the seed or give them an idea that, you know, getting sober is possible. And sometimes you get sober and you have to go to prison, but you just have to do these things. This is what getting sober is all about. You make a lot of mistakes in addiction, and getting sober is when, you know, you're making amends for everything and making all the wrongs right. And sometimes that involves prison time. I'm very lucky that that's not part of my recovery journey, but you know, I'm dating someone who, so it kind of is a little bit. I'm, you know, on the other side of it. Making this video was so hard. I kept looking at all the pictures and videos we took over the summer, and it just made me miss him so much more. And like, just thinking about that I'm not gonna be able to cuddle with him until 2024 is crazy. I mean, the good thing is I have Coda, who's a really good cuddler. But still, I won't be cold, but it's just not the same. I mean, I love Coda, but you know, it's my dog, not my boyfriend. So I feel like the universe was like, here's that boyfriend that you've been wanting for so long, but you still have to work on yourself. So he's gonna go to prison, and yeah, have fun with that. You're welcome. Oh yeah, he gave me this bracelet and I wear it every day. He used to wear it every day, but now that he can't, he gave it to me. And it's really cool because on the inside it has the Serenity Prayer, which is backwards, I know. I feel like I've been in the rooms long enough to know when someone's serious about the recovery and when they're not serious about it. And you can just tell in their shares. And I guess I know too, because there was a time in my story where like I was only going to AA because my mom and my IOP were making me, but I didn't want to be there. So yeah, I guess I know the difference of someone who's serious about their recovery and someone who's not. I wouldn't be with someone who wasn't serious about their recovery, and just based off his shares and his actions, I could tell that he is sober, wants to stay sober, and that he's changed. I was talking to another guy in AA a couple years ago, and he was perfect on paper. He had a good job, was great with kids, had his own house with a mortgage, drove a nice car, dressed well, but was a fuckboy. A 40-year-old fuckboy. We dated, but he was one of those guys that was like, I don't want a relationship right now. And it's just like, you're fucking 40, dude. And he lied about having a girlfriend when we first started talking. And he was just a mess when it came to women. He looked great. Everything looked great. And oh my God, I don't think he's watching this video. I don't think he ever paid attention or cared about my YouTube channel at all, even though I brought it up to him, so he's probably not watching. Now I'm with Ashton. I know there's some people who are gonna judge and be like, why the fuck is she with some drug dealer who's in prison? And I think, you know, even when I first told my parents, they judged too, because they were like, what the fuck is she doing? He doesn't have a house or a car at the moment, but he will have a job when he gets out. And, you know, those material things don't matter. He will get them eventually. It's, you know, what's on the inside that really matters. And I know that he's serious about his recovery and he loves me. I would rather be with someone who loves and respects me and is serious about their recovery than someone who looks perfect but treats me like garbage. So yeah, I guess you do have to be careful when you're dating in the rooms, because you can end up with garbage or with someone who's in prison. Hi, editing Bianca here. I know I made the joke that there's only garbage and then guys who go to prison in AA, and I just wanted to clarify that yes, you do have to be careful. There is garbage guys in AA. There's guys who, they're called 13 steppers. They'll prey on like new vulnerable girls. It happens the other way around too. There are female 13 steppers. Anyways, there's guys who will like prey on vulnerable girls and be like, you know, try to get in their pants because, and they're like, oh, you want to get sober? I'll tell you. You want to see my big book? So you do have to be careful of 13 steppers. And there is garbage fuckboys, but there's also really good guys too. I think I found a really good guy, and he does have this little bump in the road that he has to fix in his sober journey, but I really admire and that he's like taking accountability and he's doing something, you know, like he got caught up in his addiction and made some mistakes. We're all addicts, like who doesn't? He's going through something really hard right now, and I think he's handling it very well. They're not all garbage or guys who go to prison, but you know, even if they do end up going to prison, they can still be really good guys. You know, they're in recovery and they're turning their lives around and making like their amends to society. I guess that's what you want to call it. Okay, yeah, so back to the video. So thank you so much for watching this video. Thank you for making it to the end of this video. If you haven't already subscribed yet, please do, and I will love you forever and ever. Also, leave a comment below if you liked the video or just want to leave some encouraging words for me or for him. I can pass that comment along in a letter that will get there to him, in a letter that will get to him next year, probably. So if you want to do that, and smash that like button if you want more prison content, because yeah, I'm sure we're gonna get some really good stories out of this experience. So all right, thanks for watching, love you, bye.